Hey Capricorn, this is your reading for the month of August. I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I started a Patreon page where you can get access to my extended readings. This is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave the rest. But if it does resonate, I would suggest checking out the Patreon page, and I'll put the link below. This reading is gonna have, we're gonna do I'll let you know the vision I got during my meditation time, and then we'll do an energy check, a look into the past, present, and future, and then a look at what your current block is. And then in the Patreon reading, there'll be a general action plan based off of this reading, a love, past, present, future, a look at the past person and new person if you have someone coming in. And if you don't have anybody coming in or that you have your eye on, it can also just be energy that you're attracting at this point. Or that you will be having coming in. And then a love action plan. Again, if you're not, actively seeking to be with anybody or anything like that, it can also be just what you need to do to work on yourself, to grow yourself so that you can attract higher vibrational loving energy, whether that's from one single person or just in general, that kind of energy from people around you. With that said, I'll go ahead and put the decks in the description below. And this is for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Mars, or Venus. But even if you have Capricorn in your Sun, Moon, or Rising, generally this will be beneficial for you. I'll also put a link in the description below as to, it'll be for the website where you can check for free your birth chart. That way you can see all the different signs and the different planet and the positions in your chart, so you can check those readings as well. As far as the vision I had for you guys, it was basically it was like on a rope, like one of those like rope and sticks ladder type things. But instead of climbing the rope, like the ladder part, it was like the idea of climbing up the sides as a single rope instead of using the actual like steps created by the sticks. So it was that element. Let's get started. So as far as your energy, Spirit Guide, Universe, what message do you have for the month of August for Capricorn? What does their energy look like? What are they dealing with? Especially in regards to the vision so far. What is Capricorn dealing with? So Soul Star Chakra, it says merging with the divine and internal explorer. It's funny, like when I see this almost like a flower. I mean, I know this is, I guess, a person, figure, whatever, but I see it almost like a flower, and it's like opening up. So like merging with the divine is literally opening up to the divine, opening up to God. An internal explorer, it's like the more you open up to the divine, the more light is shed inside you to where you're able to actually see parts of yourself that otherwise you weren't able to see, or you're able to view things in a different heart to where you can actually, it can facilitate healing. It's funny too, because like all these lines make me think of like this too. It's like similar. So it feels like this is like what's inside is like, there's like a part of you that's just like opening up and coming out. And some of you guys may want to look into the soul star chakra and see if that's, you know, something that you need to work on and opening up and healing. Clearing. It's funny too, because it feels like almost like that's like that too. Like that's that, but then also that's like that. It's almost like a holographic, like there's this picture and then you go there and then like it just keeps repeating itself type element. So it's like once you, it's like parts of yourself that haven't come out yet. Once you open up to the divine, you know, it starts offering out parts as well, like different elements, and then opening up again, and like all these new ways to open up to the divine starts opening up. So it seems like you guys are in this journey right now of going inwards, but also trying to trust possibly, and opening up to the divine as far as the vision. You know, this vision, if you think about it, like I'm seeing it as this, you know, this ladder steps thing, but the fact that like rope and ladder, the stick ladder, it's like going upwards. There was no clear where it's going. So it could have been in that sense of opening up to the divine. It's just according to that vision, it's like you were kind of going on the rope instead of using the ladders. But the heart is what matters, the intention. So obviously it seems like you're trying to open up in that way. So yeah, Spirit Guide, Universe, what message do you have for past, present, and future? What is Capricorn looking at? What have they been looking at? What will they be facing as far as past, present, future generally? Especially in regards to the vision and reading so far. What can you show them? For me. So past, 9 of Wands. I don't do reversals. Wheel of Fortune and 2 of Cups. Present, the Empress, 8 of Wands, and Strength. In the future, 9 of Cups, Ace of Cups, and the Hierophant. What's funny is like there's like all these clouds right here. Like the Wheel of Fortune, I kind of look at differently. I look at it as an element of like needing to understand that, like, I mean, it's a completion of a cycle. It's all that stuff. It can be a benefit, it can, like, you know, be fortune coming in, all that. But also it's this idea of like everything happens in different times. So every season there's a good time, there's a bad time, and understanding that there's like the need to see the bigger picture, or to trust in a bigger picture and know that it's not always going to be exactly what it is in the moment. Because as soon as you understand that, then you can actually have faith and you can start allowing that energy, like your energy opens up to but to not be let down when things go negative, and also to not be let down when like in a positive season something happens, or you know what I mean? It's weird. So like your energy starts becoming open to receive whatever the universe has, and then therefore that universe starts being able to actually bless you more and clear out cycles and, you know, reach you in that way. However, what's funny is I'm seeing like this card being right next to that feels like this is like part of what's in these clouds. So it's weird because these like all these guys like are like sitting on the clouds. So, and this being in that, so it's like I feel like the 9 of Wands is generally like it's kind of, you're almost there, just keep pushing, and there's a temptation to rest. And this also feels like water to me. I know it's not necessarily, but it just feels like water. So it's like this temptation to rest or to feel like you might be further than you are, and like have this like imposter syndrome in a sense, or like fake it till you make it, and it's like feel like you can walk on water but you're not there yet. So but the thing is that's what these guys are resting on. So it feels like your idea of this culmination of everything completing, of this being done, and what you would think the 10 of Wands looks like, what you would think a complete cycle looks like, this fortune, this good fortune or success in that sense, is you feeling like you're always almost there but never quite there. So it feels like that's what all of the way you see what's going on, good, bad, whatever, just all the different elements in the Wheel of Fortune, the different timings, like that's the way you see the world. I don't know how to describe that. It's like you see it as, like, say there's like a good event or a bad event or something easy, something, you know, different times, everything happens, there's a season for everything. In those ways, when you have that, it's like you feel like all those things, all those variables of what is going to happen and what isn't going to happen and how things are going is literally resting on you being in this state of almost there, yet telling yourself you can walk on water. And I don't mean this walk on water in a good way. I mean this like telling yourself you're almost there, so then you put like more pressure on yourself to believe that this water will hold you, but it won't actually hold you yet because you're not there yet. So it's literally like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like setting yourself up for failure when you think that all these different things in your life can like, all these different elements, good, bad, whatever happens, is resting on you putting on a face and believing in the need to fake it till you make it, almost to be able to keep going. Even when you're not ready yet. I don't know how to describe that. I don't know how, like, hopefully you guys, like, you're listening and you can, like, actually see what that is saying about how things were in this past time frame. But literally, like, you were resting the seasons or the events that happen in each season on how much you can say you've got it and you're almost done and show yourself as further than you are. How does that make sense? I'm trying to like fathom. I mean, this feels like a Capricorn thing, honestly. I mean, Capricorns are hard workers. You guys are hard workers. Always about like trying to like, if you're not actually getting something done, like you're trying to plan how to, and you're like, you have that mentality, like not studious, but God, there's like something more to that is like, so I almost want to pull a clarifier for that. Do you know what? I feel like I'm going to pull a clarifier. Let's see. What deck is the right deck? Or it's an oracle deck. Oracle deck. Okay. Hopefully this is gonna... It's just, it's... I can see what I'm saying, but as far as how that, like, plays out with everything else, I'm not sure I can explain this clearly. Like, it's really weird what's happening here. Universe. Actually, here, let's just do this. clarify. 9 of Wands and Wheel of Fortune. Those brave flight. Yeah, you will not let fear stop you this time. So it's almost like, okay, I feel like that's okay. That's another, I feel like there might be more though. Hold on, let's do more. Well, I'll tell you this though. So basically, not like almost with the idea of needing to fake it till you make it. God, look how bright that is right there. The shininess. I get the sense of this, like, it's like oil slick, right? So like in one view, you look at this bird and it's like all black. And then if you change and shift, suddenly you see all these like shiny areas. And I feel like it's like multi-dimensional in that sense. It's almost like part of this element of, oh geez, I don't know how to describe. But anyways, it's like, it's like you feel like you need to stay brave and you need to look brave and you need to look like you almost are there and you almost have it. Otherwise, you're terrified of the fear that could consume you or could stop you if you don't think that you're almost there, or if you don't think that you're further along than you are. Because you are almost there. It's the 9 of Wands. But you're not as far along as you think you are. Or not think you are, but say you are. Or act like you are. Okay, let's see what else comes out. I feel like something else is supposed to come out. What do you have to clarify this? How is Capricorn? Help Capricorn understand. Maybe even me too. Help us understand exactly what you're trying to say here. The mermaid and the turtle. An elder will teach you. Okay, well. I mean, the one thing I've noticed about that is like the turtle's coming out of its shell. And the mermaid is already in the water and in that realm. So it's like the idea of like one's trying to break out of its shell, but it's almost like a bird. Like with a bird, I forget what it is, but like if you're, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I thought it is, where it's the idea that like, if you help a bird out of its shell, like it is basically stunted for life because it needs to go through that initial test or like testament for itself to understand its strength or what it's capable of. So like it needs to push out itself. So it's like this idea that like okay, so you're doing this and you're saying that you're further along than you are. And when you do that, and when you say you're further along than you are, then you don't realize how much more strength and push you need to actually push through. So you think you're doing yourself a service by keeping your momentum going, but in reality, you're actually making yourself feel like you don't have to push as hard as you do. And so it kind of almost keeps you at the 9 of Wands, which is why this is like all clouds that they're all sitting on, because it feels like you've been doing that. And then you look at these and you're like, okay, well, all the events in my life are sitting on me doing this. So it's like this perpetuating cycle where you feel like you need to stay there in order, you know, as you see the way these things are. But then the more you act like that, the more you end up creating a situation where you have to stay there. Yeah, because you make it to where you don't end up realizing that you need to push harder than you do, because you tell yourself that you believe basically the lies that you tell, not that you lies, but you know, what you tell other people about how far along you are. It's almost like you want a challenge, but then you realize, you start believing that like you're further along, or not want a challenge, but want to feel like you're further along. And then even if you are close, you end up not having that last push that you need from yourself because you don't believe that you actually need it. Wow. Okay. And this is in the past area, and this is 2 of Cups. So this is like what you came into in relationships, it seems like. So I feel like this is like, There's also this thing, this is like eye to eye right here, but then they're like looking backwards. So it's like you're like keeping yourself in that cycle. But I feel like this is like the energy that you brought to this connection with either you and other people relationally, or in a relationship that you were in or could still be in, where literally it's like you tell yourself you're further along so you don't have to, hold on, so what we just said and then this, so these things, all the different what's going on in your life is dependent on this. So this, basically things are at a standstill. Like there's the Wheel of Fortune, but you don't really see anything as needing to move or moving because everyone just stays on their clouds that are right here. So things like, in some ways they're at a standstill. Yes, obviously seasons change and time changes, but in a lot of ways you feel you've been kind of stunted in that because you haven't felt the need to move, because you haven't felt the need to push hard, because you haven't thought that you thought you were further along than you are. So then in a relationship situation, you come to the relationship and you were like, okay, well, yeah, I've got this, I'm going good, I got this, and then like this whole thing is what's backing you. So it's like you might have kind of I want to say like didn't try as hard in a relationship, maybe got comfortable because you felt like it wasn't important, it wasn't needed to try. Some of you guys, this relationship ended. I feel like for some of you guys, either this relationship ended or this is a past pattern that you have, and this is why things would end, is you didn't really try. You didn't try fully, but you didn't put in as much as what was actually needed for the situation, because you told yourself you were good. It was good. It was in the bag, you know? And like, in a way, some of you guys may have been accused of taking the other person for granted because you didn't show, some of you guys, not all of you, might not have shown like you were actually putting in as much effort as needed to be to keep this going, to go forward to the next level. And then, yeah, it's like, because this person's looking at this person, but then this person's looking away. So I feel like when you did that, you kind of gave the signal, even though it's like eye to eye supposed to be, you gave the signal that like you were looking at them, but then you were looking at them without trying in these areas. So it's like you might have made them feel like, you know, you cared about them, but obviously you weren't, you know, trying as much in that. So it made them start questioning and kind of like looking away, like, am I stupid here? Like, what am I, like, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain, but basically like they might have felt like you weren't putting your all in and you weren't really there, even if you were actually caring about them or liking them. There might be a group of you, I don't usually read this like this, I don't usually see it like this, but it looks so much like the medical thing. I mean, I know it's also Leo, but there might have been a group of you where maybe there was like a Leo looming over, or Leo energy looming over, or like something medical looming over, and it made like everything else seem like, it like tinged everything to be like, oh, we need to deal with this, or we need to come to terms with what we're working with, or like, you know, action needs to happen, and you were still sitting in your, okay, well, I'm good. I don't, you know, I don't need to put that big push out because I'm already far along to do that. Like you felt like it was already more open than it was. So you never really pushed it. Then the current is like this creative Empress energy. However, it feels like it's alone. Like I do feel like a lot of you guys are in a, oh God. Okay, in a lone setting, I mean, whether you are or you're in the beginning of this season, you were in this lone setting of, okay, you need to be creative and you're trying to go forward and you're trying to nurture creations. You're trying to nurture things you're working on. But this feels very like alone, pampered, like almost like I just look at this and I imagine like a little puppy on their, like, not puppy, but like a small dog on their little dog bed at your feet, you know, at someone's feet or something. So it just feels very like taken care of. So like this is like energy of, okay, I'm gonna be, you know, I need to create, and I'm creating in this Empress, amazing Empress energy, but then it's being taken care of. Again, probably because there's a disconnect here of how much help you need, how much push you need to put what you need to be doing versus what you're capable of. So again, it feels like you might have been being pampered or taken care of, or maybe even mothered, and like, you know, in a situation like living in your parents' basement or some kind of weird, not weird, but some kind of situation like that where you're more of a dependent than you actually need to be. But it also feels like some of you guys, like I said, are alone. Also, you're blending in with your setting. So what's going on in that is it's like energetically in that it's like again, you're getting too comfortable. So if you are in a situation where you're living at home, or you're, you know, being taken care of in this way, you know, trust fund, that, whatever it is, you're starting to get too comfortable to where you're just starting to blend in and starting to lose your own, like, push, you know, need for pushing out. Wow. Okay, there you go. Your own cash. Maybe you're missing your cash. Maybe you're missing your need to push out your gumption to push out, your gumption to create. It's like you have everything to create, but then you're like not understanding the need to actually do the creating, or to, you know, the fire under you. And I feel like, I don't know, it's so weird. Again, another Leo. Maybe you guys have been dealing with a Leo, like a Leo energy, but it's like, so then go from this energy, right? And it's almost like the same one here. So I feel like you kind of moved fast from this. So either you are about to, you're in this placement of moving, or, you know, feeling like you need to get going quick out of this, even though you've kind of just blended in and got too comfortable. Some of you guys might still be here though. And then then again, you're waiting on this Leo. Okay, come on, let's go, or let's move, or what do you want me to do? And again, it's like you've been going from one situation where you weren't putting enough of yourself, or not enough, but, you know, enough of your work in, and then to, like, you know, parents' house situation, and then another, like, either you found somebody else or you found another parental figure or family figure, and you're just kind of waiting on them. And your hopes is that you balance out, that you're like, okay, well, my laid back and everything, some of you guys, there might be a group of you, my laid back and everything in this is going to balance out with their feisty. So maybe this is like a roommate situation, but I do feel like a weird power thing where it's like you're looking at somebody that's like rested and like established in themselves and this energy, and you're finally standing up, but you're standing up not to go on your own, but to expect them to move. And they're like, well, I don't really need to move. I've already established myself. It's almost like, for some of you, I know this isn't a business thing, but I do feel like there is a group of you, maybe you're like waiting on, like you're backtracking again. You're coming here because they're facing this way. And then when you realize that someone doesn't want to move with you, whether that's actually moving like a roommate situation or like a business proposal where you're trying to, not proposal, but a business thing where you're trying to, like a partnership, you're trying to get somebody, a partner, business partner, to move with you, to go forward. Or you were, you know, that was your hopes at least. And they're a lot more established than you in their stuff. And so they don't have as much need or desire to go with that kind of gumption, to go forward. So they're just kind of like, okay, yeah, like I'm good. Like it's almost like sleepy. Like you might be feeling like they're acting sleepy, but it's because they're more established. They were before looking at you in this situation. Some of you guys, you know, they could have been looking at you in this situation and being like, okay, well, what's going on here? Like, why are you not putting any work in here? Why are you doing this? And then now you're waiting on them, and they're like, yeah, I don't have as much fire under me because I don't need it, because I've already established myself. So I feel like some of you guys, you might be dealing with a parental figure, you might be dealing with a family figure, like maybe like family, like aunt, uncle, something like that, cousins, things like that, maybe just a roommate situation, but it's somebody that feels more established in themselves, or at least has more pride in what they've been doing. And I want to say solidarity, is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Solidarity, I think so, maybe, I don't know. And you're more like, woo, 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 let's go with the wind, let's go with the flow. I mean, not saying that Capricorn is normally like that, but that's what this energy's been doing. and it's been like doing on the whim, you know, whatever it's wanting. And maybe that's also kind of throwing them off. They're like, I don't know if you're stable right now. Like, I don't know. I think you're throwing people off right now, Capricorn. And then coming up though is you and yourself. You're like, you know what? I'm going to do this on my own. Whether that is actually doing what you're trying to do or just knowing that you don't need, because before in the past, you know, you were going back to this and then it was kind of like keeping you like this. Maybe sometimes some of you here, but in general, it was like you were going backtracking because you weren't able to get the support that you were wanting. Some of you guys, there might be a group of you that this is like, you know, like divine energy, like God, spirit, God, universe. And you're just like, okay, do I have the go? Like, am I really supposed to go? Are you sure I'm supposed to leave my parents right now? Are you sure I'm supposed to leave this cushy area, this place where I seem really, some of you guys, maybe it's a business situation and you just feel cushy in your job. And you're like, am I really supposed to leave? Like, am I supposed to, I feel like make like a bat in the wind or bat out of hell or I don't know, whatever. Am I really supposed to do that? And like, you might be wanting to check like in like on, you know, spirit, God, universe, and being like, okay, you know, God, like, is this really what you want me to do? But then you decide, you're like, obviously this is what I'm supposed to do. I you know, and like, you know, this is seeing like what you are capable of. This is starting to actually see like, okay, what you can hold for yourself and be like, okay, this is what I have. But this is seeing it in the emotional, to where you start actually realizing who you are in the emotional and start understanding that you don't need, if this is like, you know, somebody else, it's not out of fear. Like if you go to God and you get help or you get like you know, like that you're on the right path, that's cool, that's good. But it shouldn't be out of this fear that like, in never thinking you can ever do anything right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, this is finally understanding that you're good and that you're on this divine path. And, you know, just because, you know, you were struggling there a bit and, you know, now you understand like what you're capable of and you're emotionally bringing to the table. And then you're actually starting to open up to either new connections, romantic connection, new possibilities. And that I feel like it can be very much a romantic connection. But it can also be even opening up yourself to, again, opening up yourself. I mean, that's what this is all about. Merging with the divine, seeing it as not separate so much like, oh, I need to check on you as like, cause like in a rainy day, living in parents' basement type way, you know. Instead it's like, no, God is like with me. God is totally with me. And understanding who you are with God, and then you're able to actually start merging with that energy, and you're able to start, possibly some of you guys, you know, opening up yourselves to be able to explore new hobbies and new emotional releasing hobbies that bring you emotional release and connection and make you feel truer to yourself, closer to yourself and your essence. And then you're able to, I mean, that's the thing. Okay, so the Hierophant, there's an element of, there's like, you know, balancing out, this goes here, that goes here, these people here, this, that. But there's also an element of bringing the past into the present for the sake of like doing things like bringing past traditions and things like that into the present to new people for the sake of having it familiar and having it comfortable. And normally I can see that in a bad way sometimes in readings, the way I read that. But this actually looks like a good thing. Like you start bringing what is actually part of your core, part of like how you know to do things. And you start sharing that instead of waiting for somebody else always to okay you. You start actually saying, okay, well, this is what I'm going to bring. And you start being more of a leader in that sense, instead of always waiting for somebody else and being, you know, comforted by somebody else. So it's kind of all over the place. What is the theme of that? Spirit, God, universe. King of Wands. Yeah, getting your authority in yourself, in your creative and passionate pursuits, being able to understand and hear your own voice, your own your own inner fire, your own inner being, internal explorer. Yeah, it's like having that to where you start realizing you have that authority, and so you start pushing that out of, not pushing out, but like sharing it with others instead of always wanting to pull from somebody else. You start actually bringing what you have to the table and actually bringing it. So that's super exciting, Capricorn. Sorry, that was sometimes your guys' readings are kind of like hard for me. Not hard, but it's just, I'm a Virgo, and you guys are very, at least in my mind, kind of similar, like mentality or mental wise as me in some ways. So it's like me, but then like different. So it feels, it's so weird, because like sometimes it just, I'm so tempted to just start like over analyzing and going into myself and going into this mental place. And it's like, but I can so see it right there. Hope that makes sense. Spirit guide universe, what message do you have for Capricorn? What is their current block? What's blocking them right now? What's blocking them? Oh, wait. And so we just did that reading. And so, yeah, it's like, oh, of course. Look at that. So you have the rope and the ladder. And like, I mean, okay, I personally think it's harder to climb a rope than a ladder. But the thing is based off the reading it's almost like you're avoiding doing the ladder, and the ladder would be like a consistent muscle use of like the stick ladder, because then you would be using your legs in like a very specific way going up. So it would be this constant of like growing those muscles. Whereas going up the rope, yes, you can use all your muscles, probably more so arm muscles, honestly. But it's not as consistent. It's like in one time you can be in one position, another time another position. I don't know, it just feels a lot more less structured, I guess. So it's like you have this ability to use this thing to go up as, you know, in a ladder, and like know with each step, okay, I'm closer, and actually take it in and know. Whereas like when you're on, it's almost like when you're on the rope, you don't have like, you're like, say you couldn't see the steps, right? You don't have the markers as clear for you to be like, okay, this is how close I am, or this is how far I am. Whereas like with the ladder steps, like you can be like, okay, there's only one step left. Okay, all I need to do is this, what I just did. So it's almost like I said, it was like about like blurring the lines. You were kind of blurring the lines of where you were versus where you were saying you were. And it was changing what kind of strength or what you were thinking you needed to put in order to go up, or in order to succeed in that way. Oh my gosh, I just realized I didn't do any of the signs, past, present. Yeah, no, that's all on the bottom. It's okay though. Ow, jeez. Okay. I'll do that in the next on the Patreon, I guess. I mean, I said there was Leo coming out a lot. There was fire. There was, hold on. It's gonna bother me. I'm gonna feel like it's unfair to you guys if I don't. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Hierophant, Ace of Cups, Nine of Cups. There we go. Okay. Okay, so Wands, Cups. So Wands, in the past it could have been fire. So like Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Water, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. Present can be, again, fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Again, Leo. Past and present, you got Leo energies. And then future, you could be dealing with around you. And it doesn't have to be only romantically. It could just be the energies around you, or energies in your chart as well. Water, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Water, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. So yeah. And then ultimate theme was the fire. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Okay. So what is Capricorn's current block? What are they working with? What are they dealing with? What's their block right now, blocking them from being their highest potential, their best selves right now? Or for the month of August. What is their block? What's Capricorn's block? The Magician, the Lovers, and the Seven of Swords. So, it's supposed to be general. I so want to do this relationally. It feels relational to me right now. Those mushroom things there, or whatever plant that is, I just see like the sticks, like almost like the steps. Well, Seven of Swords is generally like it can be seen as a thief card. Actually, you know what, it can either be seen as a thief card or like a doing what you can without any support, because you're, you know, whether you're gonna get support or not, you're just gonna do it because, like, you know, you believe in it, or yeah. Okay, so some of you guys might be messing around with different magic. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way, but I just feel this. I feel like this tree is the same as this tree, and it's like, it's almost like he's like, okay, well, let me try to get them together, and it's like doing all this stuff. But because it's like with this thief card in that way, it's like, I'm gonna do it like basically like literally, like you might be, some of you guys might be either you guys or somebody involved in connections, whether it's this actual individual, a real connection with somebody, or it could be like even like in you trying to make the choice of if you should be with somebody or whatever. Like you're just like almost impatient energy of, I need to make this work, and it doesn't matter if the universe is on my side or not, like I need to do this. And yeah, some of you guys, it's a magic thing, but it's the idea of that's what's been blocking your energy, because you've been going into the place of, okay, well, let me say I'm further along than I really am, and then start believing it. But it's because you've been trying to steal that. You've been trying to fake being further along or force being further along without having to go through the work of getting that far. So it's like, even if this connection would work or not, when you go into this place of, I need to force this to work, that's literally you shutting off the energy from the universe and you being like, you know what? I don't trust that this would work, so I have to make it happen. So then suddenly you start not actually having it because you have so little actual belief and faith in it. And then you start not having the strength because you're so used to stealing it, and like stealing the connection or stealing the trophy, or you know what I mean, in that way, like before you, without actually having to work for it, that now you forgot, you don't even realize like you haven't been able to work for it. Like you actually don't know how to push out of the egg. You don't actually know that you need to, you know, to treat things as if you're almost there but not really there yet. Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, some of you, it could be like a black magic thing. It's just, regardless, it's like pushing energies with a lack of belief that the universe is actually going to help you. unless you do it yourself in that way. And so that's your blockage. Yeah. So I hope that resonated for you guys, Capricorn. Let me know in the comments what did, what didn't. And if it did resonate, you know, I suggest you check out the Patreon channel. Like I said, there'll be a general action plan, a love, past, present, future, a look at the past person and new person or new energy coming in, and then a love action plan, or, you know, just action plan to attract higher vibrational loving energy. So yeah, and then like I said, I'll put the decks in the description below. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next time.